Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done an update. Fortunately, this one's not going to be particularly positive, but hopefully this video will save others from a lot of hell and grief. So basically, in a nutshell, what you're looking at right here is Arc'teryx's Konseal. It's not a new shoe, but this is the newest, the latest and greatest version, and this is the Vertex Alpine, which has been the subject of pretty much my other videos. And so, long story short, it's pretty simple. This shoe really got my attention this year, in following Arc'teryx to see if perhaps they would either upgrade the Vertex Alpine. Even though I've really come a long way in overcoming the issues, this is still just an absolute son of a bitch. Even having, this last trip, I really deepened some of the slits to get these things on. This fucking built-in sock is just an absolute debris magnet. It's just really unreal. And from time to time, I'll still, when I have to take the padding out that I put in there, it takes forever sometimes to get it back in there in exactly the right place to avoid the issues I was having. So that's kind of the nutshell, high-level speech of why this shoe really interested me, seeing that it's got a freaking normal tongue, and seeing that a lot of the positives were the same. You can't tell by looking at this, so just, it's not something you can just pull up their website and get this information, but for one, I noticed that the outsoles are both the Vibram XS Flash 2.0, that low-end climbing rubber. That is a change in this year with the Konseal. They, believe it or not, almost a silly sort of thing, this Vertex Alpine, which was not really advertised as an approach shoe, had the XS Flash 2.0 before the Konseal. So in 2024, the Konseal still had the Vibram Mega Grip, and the lug depth is the same, both 4mm lugs. And the lugs are slightly different, but they're almost identical. You can see the pattern here. The Konseal has kind of just two at the ends, where the Vertex has two there and then the one in the middle. And then on the front lugs, Vertex has 5 little ones there, the Konseal nothing in the middle. But for the most part, this is very similar, and they feel very similar underfoot, which is what I like. I have no complaints on the performance. I don't know one thing on just the way that these shoes beat the shit out of my feet. My last hike of the trip, which I had to cut short, I actually kept the left foot, kept the Konseal on, because these are such a fucking son of a bitch to get on the feet, and my right foot was just so beat up. I managed to fit it into my old Vertexes. So one of the things that did strike me as strange, the Konseals seem grippier, and I don't know why that would be. When I mean grip, I want to clarify, I do not mean traction. I mean stickiness or tackiness, grip on solid rock, aka stickiness or tackiness, versus the actual grip on loose footing, if you will, would be more of the traction. So for the traction, I would expect the Konseals to feel better, because these have upwards of 350 miles. Anyhow, due to some shitbag customer service representative, and I say it that way because prior to getting these shoes, I have a long laundry list of emails between Arc'teryx, and I was, obviously, anyone who's a brand favorite can vouch for this, that take any shoe from the same company, and oftentimes, one shoe will run big, another model of their shoes will run small. So prior to ordering, knowing, those kind of basics, I questioned them how it fit, and they basically told me, aside from kind of the narrower fit in the toe region would be characteristic of an approach shoe compared to the Vertex Alpine, and you can kind of just see that the midfoot, the everything else, so to speak, was really built on the same, I can't remember if they said the last or platform, but just really identical to the Vertex. And my primary concern was actually the midfoot, because I had a lot of room to spare in the toe region. The heel region fit great. And so they basically, in terms specifically of the midfoot, said it would be identical to the Vertexes. Well, this isn't fucking identical. I didn't even need to doctor the Vertexes. I've probably, the number of pads and the number of places I jammed in there is just insane. This ain't one of them. Now I do, if anyone's watched one of my previous videos, I do talk about this, but not with the bigger size. When I was trying to make the smaller size work and I just couldn't do it, and realized I needed a bigger size to solve primarily the toe pinching, because when I would jam padding in there with the smaller size, I just kind of tapped out in terms of space. But when I got the bigger size, that solved the midfoot pinching. And this is just as painful, if not more so, as where I'm rubbed totally raw. This, at least, this kind of injury can be fixed with creative padding. This, the only way to go about fixing this would be jamming another insulin. And oh, here in the background to remind me, and my feet are a little puffy. They are narrower, but you can kind of see there, just, you can't really see. It almost looks flush. They're swollen a little because they're beat the fuck up. But if you look here, you can see my nice normal vasculature before the wounds resulted in them swelling. But my point is, I mean, just look at this is the Garment Dragon Tail. I don't think you could buy this. You don't really want to buy this unless you want to break your neck and fall off the rocks. This is I guess in reading reviews, it's still slippery, but the upgraded version at least uses Michelin. I mean, just eyeing this. I would almost say this one's narrower. And then, again, this is something you can't feel, but this has got a hell of a lot of padding in there. Same with a Coos Rock, very poor performance shoe. A lot of padding in there in that toe region. And this is actually quite low in terms of the roof of this shoe, meaning kind of this part, but on the inside. So Arc'teryx, you can solve that in one of two ways. Pad your fucking shoes in the normal spots where they're going to rub people, or allow more room. I could see why they won't want to do that with approach shoes, but these are both considered approach shoes. Garment Dragon Tail, Coos Rock. Pad your fucking shoes. And it's so unfortunate because, I mean, this is the same size. You can see right here. Konseal. Vertex is. So based on what the customer service rep said for Arc'teryx, I should not be having all of these issues, especially the midfoot pinching. I mean, the toe, you can kind of argue I did need to pad the Vertexes, and that's one thing that on the Konseal I can't pad them, because the thing is, you can stick your finger up to that rung, but beyond that, this part is sewn shut, so you can't get padding this far up. As a matter of fact, and this is not something I can demonstrate, if you were to stick your finger in there, the gusset, if you will, opens up. So even if I got like a pencil to try to jam the padding further up, it would just come out into where your foot's at and then slip around. So there's no way for me to, I attempted, you can see that bulge right there, to jam padding by creating the bulge to kind of lift the top part of the shoe off my toes, but I can't get it down far enough. If anything, this fucking sock with the Vertexes, you can see the bulge I created there to kind of lift it up. Just so unfortunate that I have to pay for this mistake. And finally, if you're listening to this video, if you've gotten this far, if you're just kind of thinking, well, you know, geez, it sucks for you, but luckily for me, I don't typically have problems like, my feet are just, super hardcore. They don't get sores or any of that shit. This is also what I'm about to say next, super relevant. If you recall, and I can't forget the exact percentage, but I want to say it was at least 20, maybe upwards of 30 in terms of the Vertex Alpine, that first video I released where I said, don't take my word for it, Google this, go on Arc'teryx's site, go on REI's site, go on whoever sells this, and about 20, at least 2 to 3 out of 10 reviewers are reporting in the heel region due to the lack of padding, where the shoe is just ripping open their heels. So obviously that was a common problem, a common theme. Similarly, except not in terms of causing people rubs, there are a handful of those reviews, but the recurrent theme with the Konseal is that these fucking shoes just have no durability. And just some brief background information for me. I mean, I'm happy if I've got really grippy, high performing shoes. I wouldn't care if I've got to get a new pair every 100 miles. But when I mean no durability, I'm talking about, you know, falling apart in less than 20 miles and in multiple places. That's just what blew my mind. Oftentimes, if a shoe's got an issue with durability, I know is much of a brand favorite as La Sportiva is. In researching some of their shoes, there's just, you know, notorious issues. But with the Konseal, it's not even like one common theme. It's just across the fucking board, anywhere from, I mean, I can almost see it on this, where these shoes have only 32 miles and chunks of the outsole are already starting to come off. But I've had people, I've seen on, go to Arc'teryx's site, just the number of reviews on there with people saying how the lugs just wear down to nothing in under, you know, 50 miles, in some cases under 20 to 30 miles. It's just unreal. And then in other cases, there's a variety of seams, which you can't see on these because I put the tough toe on it, where the shoe is separating in various places there. So I've also, don't get me wrong, read reviews where the Vertex Alpines have come apart fairly quickly, but they're not just like almost every other review, like the new Konseals. So just wanted to touch on that because I know even if people aren't prone to getting the shit beat out of them by Arc'teryx's shoe, nobody wants their shoes falling apart after 20 miles or even after 50. And so that was just a real eye-opener in terms of the number of reviews that reported durability issues. And go figure, it almost, I mean, gosh, I wish the general population could team up and sue fucking Arc'teryx, like, in a few of those spots, in a few of those reviews, people commented that when they tried to bring that to the attention of Arc'teryx in terms of what's happened to the shoe and relative to how little mileage, and in many cases, you know, I wasn't even off trail. I was on like a gravel manicured trail when the durability issues occurred. Arc'teryx is trying to tell these poor fucking people that, oh, that's a normal amount of wear, or you know, where the shoe would just, the seam would totally bust open. So it doesn't surprise me the way they treated me. They actually tried to silence me on my first pair of Vertexes. It looked like, and I have the email trails to prove this, they were gonna reimburse me, but they like, I would have to remove my YouTube videos, and I'm hurting financially, but I said, fuck that. The truth is getting out there. So on that note, peace out. Hopefully this has saved some people a lot of hell, whether it be bodily injury or financial damages, because the fucking shoe, you know, is falling apart. I've been really lucky in that regard. I think I noted in my other video, my first pair of Vertexes, this is my second pair. This is somewhere between 350 to 400 miles. My first pair lasted over 700. And on my August trip, because I got the same color, I accidentally grabbed this shoe, my current left shoe, and then in the other room, my pair with 700 to 750 miles on my right shoe. So that pair plus 30 is now 750 to 800 miles. And they did beautifully. I was a little worried because right here in the heel, it wasn't really separating, but it was kind of, sort of, and they held up just fine. No worse for the wear. So in terms of Vertex Alpine, nothing but a exceptional durability, but not the case for everyone. So I've just been really lucky in that regard. I don't know how the Konseals would hold up for me personally, because these ain't going back on my feet. That's for damn sure. Peace out, guys.